Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Divine Ndhlukula. Enjoy this conversation. And you started Securico with $1,200 savings with 4 colleagues in your backyard. Talk to me about that start.
Well, obviously, I started small because you can never just, you see a man on top of a mountain, you think he's just gotten there. You start from somewhere, you go up the mountain slowly, bit by bit until you get there. So we started small. In my savings quarters, we just put our best foot forward. I ensured that I was with my team all the time. I would really encourage them, because obviously when you are working for a company with one boss and there's 4 of you, you can easily lose heart. So I would encourage them and say, you know what, guys, where we are, watch the space. We are going to take over this whole industry. And
they believed you?
And they believed me. Some didn't, of course. Some didn't, and they went. But those that believed me, they keep giving those testimonies. Whenever we celebrate our anniversary, the first guys that we worked with, they keep giving those testimonies. We used to listen to this lady, and we used to think, what is she talking about? But they indeed stayed. Some of them stayed because perhaps they had no choice. They had nowhere else to go at the time. But with time, they realized that what I was saying is what was beginning to happen.
And as we sit here, Securico employs approximately 4,000 people.
Correct.
And one of the things that you've been very strong on is the inclusion of women, mainstreaming of employing women. And of those 4,900 are women. Talk to me about your passion in ensuring that women employment of women, young girls, young women is mainstreamed within not just Securico, but the entire Zimbabwean economy.
Well, for me, it started off as a social, or what I called something which was in my heart. I had a passion to see women succeed, not for any other reason, but for the reason that they had been disadvantaged. I grew up seeing a lot of disadvantages that a lot of women in my peers were facing. So for me, when I started, that was the main reason. But however, I later on realized that it was just not that. I realized that there is a serious business, a reason why more women should be employed, should be given opportunities. When you look at what is happening now, there's more startups of women, more than ever. For a start, employing the women that we employ at Securico are mainly single mothers and widows. But I started saying, because they need jobs to look after their kids, they need to educate, they need a better livelihood, they need to move away from, perhaps if they were living off pubs and so on, they had to move away from that. But with time, I realized that beyond that, there was more of an impact to the whole nation. Because number one, if they are able to send their kids to school, there are less people on the streets that are going to be criminals. And when you look at what I'm doing beyond this security sector, I'm working with a number of women, a number of initiatives where we support women to scale up their businesses, where we support women to go into business and scale up. Generally what we call women economic empowerment. Why empower them? Because for a start, there are more startups by women than men. The studies have shown that. And you find that the women normally reinvest 90% of their income back into their families through educating their kids and providing food and so on, and certainly in their communities as well. So for me, that has got a huge impact on the overall economy, because they are creating jobs, because they are starting up. So they are creating jobs, number one. And secondly, when they are creating jobs, they are moving people away from the streets. They are educating their boys, their girls. They are moving them away from vice. So the whole nation can be, the whole country is impacted positively because the women have been given an opportunity. Not that it is just about wanting to say they've been disadvantaged. It's an important aspect in terms of the impact, overall impact on the economy.
You've also taken that a bit further with Girls Get Equal, which is a campaign for mentoring young ladies. This passion of yours of ensuring that women are empowered has taken you places. Talk to me about that passion.
Well, it has taken me places because I get to mentor. I run a mentorship program. I get to go and speak all over globally about these issues. I've started initiatives that have transformed some women's businesses from, because most of the women that have started businesses, they are really businesses that are for putting food on the table for the woman and their family. But beyond that, we have said let's scale. My passion is to see those enterprises scale. Let's move from subsistence enterprises to commercial enterprises that will also employ other people. So we want to create jobs. So that I'm happy that the scaling up, we've got an initiative called Woman-Owned Business, where we work with the corporates and we ask corporates to include women in their supply chains. And because if they are not included in the supply chains, they will not be able to employ more people. And it is very difficult for them to get into those supply chains if they are not given an opportunity through these deliberate and conscious programs that we are running. So we are saying women get those opportunities. They can employ, they've got the resilience to start and stay the course in this environment. So yes, all those things are issues that are very close to my heart, and I'm seeing, quite a huge impact.
You are this strong because your father believed in you, and your father told you you could become whatever you wanted to become. Well, what message do you have for young girls, young women, looking at you and saying, wow, she's my role model, but what do I do to get to where she is? How do I stand up against this male-dominated world? How has she been able to do it? What message would you share with them?
Well, Trevor, I think one of the first things that I always tell the young women, or young men for that matter, is dream. It starts with a dream. You need to dream, and don't dream small, dream big. But it doesn't end up by dreaming. You also need to have your goals. You need to understand what do you want to achieve. Set your goals. You start setting your goals, you use the funnel approach, where you say you start setting your goals from the end. It ends with the end in mind. So you're saying, what is my 10-year goal? Going back, how do I then get into 5 years? How am I getting into the 1 year? How do I do my monthly, my weekly, and my daily? So you need to set those goals. But after setting the goals, certainly you need to work. You just need to work. You need to work, and to work damn hard, because you cannot achieve anything if you just dream, set goals, and do nothing. You need to work. One of the things that I always encourage people to do is, and it's a characteristic of attitude, that attitude that I said, attitude is the small thing that makes a whole lot of difference. And one of the major characteristics that I have myself as an entrepreneur is relationship building. If you are going to be in business, if you cannot build lasting, sustainable, and valuable relationships, you cannot do business, because you do business with people, because the men are lifted by men. So for me, it is about building relationships. And if you are the sort of person who have the attitude of not wanting to build relationships, I see there are people who think, oh no, I don't need anybody, but you need everybody. So building relationships is, for young people out there, is very important, because even if you've got loads of money, you've got parents that have got loads of money, you've got the education, you've got everything it takes, but if you are lacking those small things that matter, the attitude things, relationship building, understanding that you need the self-belief, the self-confidence. Yes, you might have it, but you need the discipline. You need the consistency to continue being on that path. You obviously need the passion for you to stay the course. So all those are things that are very key. You might have all the money in the world, but it's not going to last. You cannot, because we want to build generational wealth as black people as well. And we cannot build a business that lasts with me. And that takes all that I'm talking about. You need to build relationships.
So you have failed before. You were sharing with me how when you first came to Zvikomborero, you thought you could plant crops on this piece of land, and you failed abysmally, and it humbled you. And before you started Securico, a lot of people, you went for funding, a lot of people said no. So where do you get the guts to go, to continue going when you fall flat on your face like you did with the crop project here? And when people say no, they can't fund you, but you need the money. Where do you get the courage? Where do you get the inspiration to keep going?
I think, Trevor, I've talked about this word. I mean, I always call it a 5-star word. Attitude.
Okay.
Because with the attitude, you are able to fall down, as you're saying. You are able, first and foremost, even before you fall down, you are able to take the brickbats. People can tell you all sorts of nonsense. One person told me, hey, you think you can start a security company? In fact, I had already started. I'm phoning, I'm saying I will need to come and talk to you about this. And he says, sorry, who said you are you? Which company? No, I don't do business with small timers like you. I do business with so and so. So you should be able, that attitude should give you that capacity to take such brickbats. You fall down, you cry, you dust yourself, you wake up and you look forward to a better tomorrow because you've got that passion. You've got the positive mental attitude that keeps you going. So for me, failure has always been part of my stepping stones to better things. I call it paying my fees.
What has been
my school fees.
What has been your biggest and painful failure, Divine?
Do you know, I've got very, very few regrets, honestly speaking, because whatever I take responsibility for anything that has happened. That crop that you talked about, I take responsibility because I had not conveyed enough. Because you need to convey. You need to go out and check with the experts. Is it okay for me to do cropping? And what is the weather like this year? These are the things that we fail to do. If you don't convey, you don't go and speak to several other people and you need to bounce off. You need a cheerleader. You need somebody who is a devout advocate. We need this. They should be able, and then you need to go and speak to the experts. I just came here and planted a whole lot of maize and sank a lot of money without thinking twice about what I was doing.
And you lost all of it.
And I lost all of it because I had not taken a opportunity or a time to ask, to confer with experts. So it's important for you to do that, to confer. And this is why I say I've got little regrets, because I take responsibility. I had not done what was necessary for me to understand the next thing that I should do. It was my first time to run a farm, and I thought I knew it. I thought I knew it all, and yet I didn't know anything. So it's so important to speak to the people that know and make the decision, informed decisions.
One thing that you say, which I found very interesting, you say that there is never a perfect time to start a business. And when I look at the way you started Securico, that attests to that. The way you started this business, the farming business again, and the way you continue to venture into different aspects of the farming sector does confirm that. Talk to me about that belief that you have, that there is never a perfect time to start a business.
Yeah, there is never a perfect time, because I mean, at any given time in this era, there's something happening. Right now, there's COVID going on, but you cannot stop starting a business because there's COVID. I started Securico right at the height of ASAP. So,
Right.
yeah, and then we went into hyperinflation. We have gone into the rest of the things that we all know now. But we have grown. Even at the height of hyperinflation, we grew the business. That's I'm sure that's soon after hyperinflation. I think that's when we won the Africa Award for Entrepreneurship. That is what surprised the analysts that looked at this, because it was all Africa wide, and it was a very competitive award, which for us we just went there as underdogs, because we're competing against the Nigerians, the Kenyans, South Africans, and so on. So they were really amazed that they looked at our financials. They were going like this, and they came through. It was so competitive that the people that were doing the analysis had to fly out to all the countries that were the finalists, the 10 finalists in Africa. They came and they were just amazed. But for us, we didn't realize that we were doing such an amazing job. Honestly speaking, I was really surprised that we considered as one of the best run and well-doing companies at the time.
You know, I could spend a good part of the show running through the awards that you have gotten and the awards that Securico has gotten. But let me just, briefly, you've been awarded the African Award for Entrepreneurship. You've been awarded Ernst & Young Award for Global Entrepreneurship for Southern Africa. Exceptional category. You've been called the Forbes Africa Businessman of the Year for Businesswoman of the Year for 2019. Top 100 Women CEOs for 2019. Director of the Year, Institute of Directors. Does that not go into your head?
Well, it doesn't go. Why should it go into my head? Anyone could be getting them. It doesn't.
Right.
For me, I actually don't even think I was anything. For me, the greatest awards that I believe I've won is see the change that I've seen in a number of people that, particularly the women that work at Securico, or even here for that matter, because those people would invariably not have gotten an opportunity to be where they are if I had not deliberately and consciously given them the opportunities. There are women that came very timid and they were not sure whether they were in the right space because security is, but we allowed them to thrive. We gave them an opportunity to thrive. We drilled into their minds that you are good at this, you are going to be this, and so on. Some of them, they came in as guards. Some of them are now officers. One of them is actually a manager now. So for me, that is the greatest achievement that I think has happened.
The impact that you're having on the community.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the reason for you deciding that Securico should get the ISO 900 certification? You became the first company first security company in the country to get an ISO 900 certification. What is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, I think it is really from the beginning when I was explaining to you that the quality orientation is what the industry needed more than anything. So that quality orientation, we wanted to benchmark it against the international standards. So certifying to ISO 9001 international standards was for us the benchmark to say we are at that international standard. And for me, that is one of the impacts that I'm very happy about. After our certification is the first one, the rest of the industry followed suit. I can tell you, I think out of, I don't know how many companies, maybe there's 30, 40 serious companies out there. Out of the 30, 40, 50% of them are now certified to ISO. So it means the industry has moved from where it was to there and so on. So the standards have really gone up. And for us, it was that quality orientation that we're trying to build into our business. We're trying to build that because the market was lacking, was yearning for that quality orientation, uncompromising quality service level that they were looking for. So that's what we then said, let's certify to international standards. Then, because we then are looking at everything at that level, how do you deal with the customer complaint? They are audited by outside auditors. Are you able to be, everything is really at that standard where you are expected to be doing for you to keep the certification. You need to be, they audit even the way you look after your workers and so on. So those things are very important.
What feedback do you get from, given your passion for empowering women, what feedback do you get from the women, 900 plus women that you work with, in terms of their role within Securico and the way that you've empowered them? What kind of feedback do you get?
Well, that is the kind of feedback that, by the way, it makes me wake up every day and want to go to work, because they always say, you know what, ma'am, some of us, if you had not come into our lives, or if we had not come into whichever, how it happened, we would be 6 feet under. They lost their husbands to HIV. So obviously some of them were HIV positive. We would not have educated our kids. Some of the kids now have finished university. They came when their kids were in grade 6, grade 7. They have now finished university because I've ensured that that's one of the things that we are very focused on, education, not just for our employee, but for the employees' children. We run a bursary fund for kids that do well at whatever level. If the kid has passed grade 7 with 4 points, we take it through to high school, as long as every term they've got to bring the results that they are passing. We pay 100% the fees. So those are the things that the feedback that they then say, you know what, I mean, this for me, when people tell me, not that they are trying to heroish me, because I'm not that, you are the best thing that has happened, because I would be 6 feet under. For me, it is that impact to that person, not to me, but to that person. That if I have 900 women that would have been sitting out there in Ndambuya doing nothing and really struggling through life, and now this person is confident, a security operative, educating a kid and having her own house there, and being proud that she is somebody in a society. Then for me,
and you did that, Divine, when it wasn't a trend in the market to employ women.
No, it wasn't.
But we have seen a shift again.
Absolutely. That is the impact, because, during hyperinflation, in fact, when we're employing women, my colleagues in the industry were telling me, you employ women, you are going to face the music, because they want to go and look after their kids. They take maternity leave. They asking for time off to take the kid to a clinic and so on and so forth. They want to go to funerals, because women are always having to go to funerals. So my peers in the industry were saying, you are going to, because our biggest cost is salaries. So you were saying, you still pay them, by the way. And you're employing all those women we see. They were actually asking me this question. And I said, no, it's just not about the money. I'm not employing them because, and I'm not running this business because I just want the profits. I want the profits with, obviously, with more to it. So then hyperinflation, the women were coming to work, the men were not coming to work. That's how we then changed the whole game, because we could fulfill our numbers in terms of requirements for our clients. Most of our colleagues in the industry could not, because men were simply just not turning up. So from then, they all started employing women. At the time, the industry was employing less than 0.4% women. And we started by saying our numbers will be no less than 25%. So at the time of hyperinflation, we actually were at almost like 40%, 50%, because there were more women coming, less men coming to work. Hyperinflation, people were earning nothing, but women were resilient, they kept coming. So then the whole industry after that woke up to the smell of coffee, and they started employing more women. We were at 25%, they were at 0. Now I think the whole industry has moved to 15% roughly, women.
Because you believed in a set of values and a set of principles, rather than just strictly focusing on the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So Divine, you're passionate for excellency. You so many things, and I'm asking myself as I sit here, you say you still have big dreams. What's the next big thing for you?
Well, we never stop dreaming. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said the beauty in your own dreams is what will take you far. So for me, first and foremost here, this is a scalable business. We are still scaling up. We have not even reached our optimum in terms of our numbers. We are still growing. It's Zvikomborero business. It's an integrated agribusiness. So there's still a lot that we are doing. So yes, that is still quite a work in progress. Securico, regional expansion is a compelling proposition, and we are certainly going into the region. We have started doing it slowly. We have done a installation of CCTVs in one of the neighboring countries, but we want to go and start operations in one or two of the neighboring countries. So obviously, the regional expansion for Securico is really the beckoning
And
thing.
the other thing,
And for
the other thing you've done, by the way, not just employing women and being passionate about that, is that you've fully embraced technology within the security sector. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, because everything now is going digital. So for us, guarding is still, yes, a good part of our business, but certainly we do cash management. Cash management, we're literally running cash now for most banks. Not just run cash by moving their cash from one point to the next. We run their cash. We now replenish ATMs. We now run cash. We run cash depots for banks, which never happened in this country before.
Right.
So that's one. And then, of course, we do electronic security systems. We install all sorts of systems. Any system. We have installed major systems in mines, in strategic positions, and we keep coming up. We launched what we call a Securico emergency panic system. Anyway, a person can press a panic if you have downloaded our app, and we can tell you exactly where you are, your location, and if you're in trouble, we send our teams to help you. So we are innovating. We are moving with technology. Every day we're looking at different ways of managing the business technologically. Even the guarding, we're doing it very technologically. We don't need to send people out there to supervise people. We've got technology that assists us in doing that.
The beauty about recording on a farm is that we have so many flies around here. There's the noise from the cattle and from the goats. It's such a beautiful place, and like you're saying, there's still so much to be done. You are putting up 2 dams and a lot of other things. All right, Divine, let's turn to my favorite segment of the show, which is your book recommendation to the book-loving viewers who follow this show.
Well, for me, I like reading legends. People have who are either living or dead, but they have achieved extraordinary success in their own endeavors, whether it's in politics, in business, in religion, in whatever. So one book that really stands out that I can never forget, that I always recommend people to read, Richard Branson, Losing My Virginity. You know it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that book. I was just starting Securico when I read that book. It gave me so much inspiration. Then Jack Welch.
Yeah.
His book Just Jack. When he talked about how he turned around GE, General Electric, he came up with all these concepts, Six Sigma, and so on and so forth. I actually implemented Six Sigma at Securico at the beginning, right at the beginning. These are models that I implemented that I read in Jack Welch's book, Jack. So for me, those books really stand out. Tom Peters' Circle of Innovation, you read that. If you are an aspiring or existing entrepreneur, it's a very good book. It jocks your mind in terms of innovation. This is why anything we do, we are always changing things around. We are innovating new ways of doing things. So for me, those books, but beyond that, I've read all the books that you can think of. Mandela's books, I've read, Working There. I've read all Hillary Clinton, living history. I've read obviously all the Obama books. I've read the Mugabe books. I've read all these giants that I say I need to understand where were they getting the inspiration, what was them, what was about them that made them who they are. So I've read all those books. And for me, those are the books that I continue. I've got piles and piles. Each time I travel, I buy books. I just pile them. Now there's less time to read because there's so much social media to deal with. So I rule social media, but it's very important for business, the social media aspect. But at the same time, now my books, I've got piles and piles. My Harare home, I've got a whole room of books.
Wow.
Here, I've got, cabinets of books. So for me, I have less time to read now because there's more online things to do.
Right. Wow, Divine, this has been so inspirational for us. And you've been very generous with us. That's one thing that I spotted today, that you are a very generous farmer, because you couldn't stop feeding us with the beautiful food, all produced from this farm. So thank you so much for allowing us to come to Zvikomborero farm to see with ourselves the amazing work that you're doing on this farm. So allow me now, Divine, to tend to our viewers who are in Zimbabwe, on the continent and out in the diaspora who follow this show, to thank you so much for tuning in every Monday at 7 a.m. on YouTube, which is the time that most our shows premiere. To ensure that you don't miss out on any of our quality conversation, we invite you to click onto this red button to subscribe, and you get a notification every time we have one of these quality conversations. We have gone a step further and added podcasts for your pleasure. So scroll down below this conversation and click onto the subscribe for podcasts and enjoy yourself. Until the next episode, cheers to you all.